Insecure?
Yes, ma'am. I have been watching Insecure. It's interesting. Insecure. The season has really like taken an interesting turn. It's crazy to see like Issa and Molly kind of like at odds, but I really fuck with the way that Insecure is able to like showcase the little shit that goes on between friends that it's like you can't really put your finger on it, and like you're not beefing with your friend, but you're not vibing with your friend, and it's like little things that may point out like your friend's selfishness or them being unsupportive and
Yeah.
that you may not bring up every day, but Insecure
Right.
has like they're able to showcase that shit in a great way. Like I really got to give them props for that, because for them to be gone that long and for them still like kind of hop into the story but in a different
Right.
way, because I
And
thought it
still
was,
be relevant and still
yeah,
be relatable and relevant and all of those things. Yeah.
because I thought the drama would be more so with Issa and her ex and her love life and shit. But in
Right.
all honesty, I feel like the majority of the tension is between her and Molly.
Molly. Right.
Friendship thing.
Right.
I was like, damn, this is interesting, because I feel like they're on the verge of not being friends after the last episode.
Me too. Me too. Yeah, me too. I mean, I couldn't have said that better than myself. Molly's getting on my nerve.
So selfish. I cannot believe that parking situation. Like, girl, if you see me back into this spot, I'm sorry. We would have been there all.
Girl,
I'm
I
not
was like, it was, we were, I mean, really? I was like, it was just, it was uncomfortable. It was so uncomfortable because I was like, this is weird. Like, Molly, and like, Issa's been weird too, but she hadn't affected me like Molly has.
exactly.
And,
That's because it's been like this from the beginning. Like Issa has been like this from the beginning. I feel like she's growing, but Issa has always been like a people pleaser, a flip
she
flop.
has,
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
she has. And I also think that I also feel like she looks to Molly in a way where, she may not, it's almost kind of like I think she probably takes for granted some situations that Molly, because when you have a friend that maybe you feel like you haven't arrived at where they are, but that friend never makes you feel like you haven't. It's just this thing where that just two different paths, but you're best friends or you're super close. And
yeah,
I think that now it's only an issue for Molly because they're in this weird space. So now anything that, like you said, Issa's been this way. Issa's been like, oh, girl, hook me up. Like, girl, you know who they are. Tell them to call me. But it's only an issue now, or it's only magnified now because of the irritances or the,
yeah.
the,
The things that
the,
have been swept under the rug for so long, and now
exactly,
you're like, it's almost like payback. Like, I'm not gonna help you out
exactly.
in this situation because you have been a bad friend to me, or I think you have been. So now I'm not gonna help you in this situation. So I don't know.
What Molly's doing is the classic, what I would say, is a classic version of a friend that you have to watch.
Yeah.
And you have to just hope that your friend is just going through something and this is just a moment in her life where she's just got a lot going on and she'll come back to being that whatever that you guys had. But sometimes it doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes people, like Molly, they don't bounce back to the person that you once had something with, and now it's kind of hard to, sometimes I feel like it's so hard to unsee someone once they show you another side of them. Like sometimes you can't go back,
Yeah.
like, does that make sense? Like sometimes you can't, it's like, oh, like I know you were going through this and this and this and this, but like you just showed me your true colors and like how you felt. Like that's kind of like a character thing, like, you know what I mean? And I feel like I hope that it's just a situation where she's just fucked up and she just is going through a weird space with her career, her love life, and that her and Issa will get back to that space. But if not, that's also normal too. That's also real life, So
Her and her boo Andrew, Molly and this guy Andrew.
what'd you say?
her boo is Andrew, the Asian guy, Asian bae. Is Andrew, right? Yeah. How do you
Andrew.
feel about their relationship, their situation?
I oh, it's not. I feel like it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Um, Molly's one of those women that I don't know. I don't really have her pegged yet. I know a Molly in my life. Like I've seen her before. I've seen in some parts of her I can relate to, some a lot that I can't. But what I'm saying is like she's just one of those that are so laser focused and everything kind of evolves around her. Until she's able to take a step back and realize, okay, it's not about me, but then she does the same thing over again. Like I don't know if she really is trying to change. And I think that anytime you're trying to date someone and they're making all of these exceptions for you, but you're not doing it for them. Like there was a moment this last episode, I think, where, you know, she was like, I have time. Like, you know, like, what are you doing? Why did you plan something with your friends? I actually have time today. And it's like, okay, bitch, kudos. Like, I didn't know you had extra time. You usually don't have extra time. You know what I mean?
Here's my thing with that situation. Like, he was already on a date with her. You know, like, that's the night with her. It is weird to me.
But there's been other nights where he's been with her and she's had other things going on.
That's petty to double book somebody the same night.
Yeah, but I mean, as petty as, but as many times as she's been petty, I'm like, he can have this one time to be petty. But because at the end of the day, he's made certain accommodations for her and he's been screwed.
But at the end of the day, how many women do that for men all the time? Like, men work late all the time. Men can, you know, a woman could be at home waiting for a man to come home all the time. He's late, he's doing this, he got caught up in a meeting. And she'll wait her ass there all fucking night, trying to make herself stay awake for that nigga to come home and then still not even want to fucking complain about it because it's gonna start some shit. Like, I'm not saying that's right either, but I'm saying it's more acceptable for a man to, you know, put his work first and a woman be accommodating for that. And my thing is, like, he knew she was a lawyer. They knew, like, I just don't understand it. It really,
I just don't think it's gonna work.
It's not gonna work because obviously he doesn't know what type of person Molly is. And this is my thing with Molly. She picks and chooses when she wants to be like this affirmative bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then when it's time and somebody's like, what's the problem? Oh no, it's fine. Go ahead. She plays the passive
aggressive shit. Like, yeah.
And he was like, do you want me to cancel? He was like, I mean, I'll cancel if you have a problem. She's like, no, don't cancel. Go ahead. Go with your plan. It's like, if she had a problem, you're a grown ass woman. You should have been like,
just
well,
like,
yeah,
like,
but I want to spend it with you together. Like, I don't want you to leave tonight. Like, that's
exactly.
You're too old for this. Like, that's what I don't get about Molly. Like, it's so weird. I feel like she and Issa are gonna fall out, especially because this was like the one thing Issa had since her whole job blew up. You know, she ain't really got shit. She don't got no career. You know, Molly got her whole fucking life together, except for her love life. Issa ain't got shit. All she had was Schoolboy Q. You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
And I'm pretty sure Condola did that. I'm almost 100% sure that what happened there was that Condola pulled Schoolboy Q out of the situation because Lawrence confessed that he was still attracted to Issa or something.
That is so fucking petty, though.
And that's why she's not returning her phone calls, and that's why Schoolboy Q pulled out. I almost 100% guarantee it, because remember at when they were in the driveway after seeing Tiffany's baby outside, Lawrence was like, I got something to tell you. I need to talk to you about something. And then he saw how pissed Issa was, and he was like, oh, never mind. So I just feel like that's what he wanted to talk to her about, because at the end of the last episode, Condola was like, if Issa didn't cheat on you, would you still be with her? And he couldn't answer it. And then he sent her that DM on Instagram.
And yeah, I mean, that's also a very real conversation. Girl, you need to be a producer. You need to be an executive producer, putting it out there, let it manifest, have a writer, give you your writer's cred, honey. Yeah, no, that's a very real conclusion. I definitely agree with your point of view on Molly. I also think that Andrew and her are not going to work because, to your point, it is more acceptable for a man to have, that whole working thing going on. However, at the end of the day, you have your limits to what you're going to put up with and what you're not going to put up with. And I don't think Andrew's that kind to put up with that. And I don't know too many men who are going to put up with that unless you have someone who's not, who just is kind of passive and doesn't really value that kind of stuff. But, Molly needs to get a grip on some things quick, because if she really does care about this man or this whatever, or anybody, if she has any interest in being in a relationship, she's definitely going to have to compromise and balance, as much as she can. And then as far as like Issa and Lawrence and Condola, like, I just think that like Lawrence is what Lawrence is to Condola. What was that girl's name? The side chick? Not the side chick, Tasha.
How he played her.
Yeah, I feel like Tasha is to Lawrence as far as what Lawrence is to Condola. Like, Condola is not really looking for something super, super heavy. Because she did get out of a divorce, and I feel like Lawrence really, 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 really liked Condola and what that probably could evolve into. Hence why, he wanted to preserve, their relationship. Making sure Issa doesn't come in and, say anything crazy or whatever. But that's obviously hard to do.
I think that's what that was, because to me, I feel like that was a cop out to go and see Issa. Like,
it could have been, but I think that like
need to see Issa for that.
I mean, but at the same time, like, here's the thing too, like Lawrence never even knew that Issa and Condola were, until he found out. And I feel like he really genuinely liked her at some point. Maybe he thought, or maybe he tried to jump into something and not like rush whatever, but Condola was the one that kind of had to pump the brakes and was like, wait a minute, you're not as into this as, you may be into this and you may be asking me questions, but then the day you got your own shit. I see how you and Issa have your chemistry. I've seen it at this point. I can't unsee it. You guys were out here kikiing and laughing and shit. That shit is not.
Hence why he had to drive to meet her at her house to tell her how much he likes Condola.
You know what? Actually, I'd take that back. You're right. You're right. I've been in this situation.
Tell me that, nigga. Like, okay. Like,
I've been in a situation like that.
And the only reason he did that, and like, look where he is now. I feel like he tried to rush and create something with Condola just to like cover up how he feels about Issa.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree. I take that all the way back. I actually, I relate too well to that situation. Yeah. Especially when a guy has to say it, like, I'm over you, and like, I'm with somebody else. This. It's like, okay, go be happy. Yeah. Go be great. Go be great. But yeah, I just think that, I love the way in which Insecure is always thinking about, keeping things fresh and new and still relatable.
Yeah. Shout out to Amanda Seales and the actress who plays Kelly. They're all amazing. But Amanda Seales, they had a really important scene when they were talking to her about her delivery, and she let them know that, she almost died, and had it not been for her husband.
I peeped that.
For her, because she said she was feeling faint. The doctors didn't want to hear what she was saying. It turns out she had a blood clot, but her husband had to cuss the doctors out for them to even take her seriously.
I remember that.
Shout out to them for putting that in.
Yep.
It's very, very real.
It's very real.
Women are really dying out here just trying to give birth. I unfortunately saw a video of like a 28-year-old woman who, she was pregnant during quarantine, and her last checkup had been like early February. And she was pretty like late term. I think she was like in her 7th or 8th month or something like that. And around mid-April, she was like, look, I need to go to the doctor. I don't feel like something's right, whatever. And the doctor was like, we're just doing virtual appointments. You can be seen virtually. And she's like, no, I want to be seen like, in person. So she like demanded that. she was on social media, on Facebook, basically talking about how they were dismissing her and everything like that. She ended up going into the hospital. They told her she needed to leave, and then she wouldn't leave because she said something was not right. Turns out something was going on. She had to have an emergency C-section, and she died, but the baby survived. And people are just like outraged. And because of coronavirus, like nobody was able to be there with her. Like didn't allow her husband to be like in the room.
That is so sad.
Very sad, very scary.
That is so
If I was
sad.
pregnant right now, I'd be getting a home birth, a bathtub birth. It's too crazy right now. You can't have no visitors. You can't have nobody. Like, it's just you and them, and like, it's very strict, very regulated, very, very.
I wouldn't even want to go to no different like I heard you go to a hospital, you ain't coming out.
That part.
Like, real talk. Like, people that be going to hospital, especially don't get on that ventilator, because that ventilator, hell fucking no, is a setup. No, thank you. No, thank you. Yeah, I connected the dots as soon as she said that. I was like, oh, I see what they're doing. That's powerful. For real, that is some powerful shit that they were intentional enough to put that in there. You could tell that they got Jamal the intern in those conversations, because, you know, that is for the culture, for real.
And they finally, after 4 seasons, they finally have the top spot in HBO, that primetime.
I heard. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, because I always watch it like on demand or something, but that's dope.
It's dope.
I'm still upset about 30 minutes, but
listen, we will take it. We'll take it, but shit, we would love to have an hour. Or my thing is, at least just release it all on, you know, at the same time, so I can just binge them. At this point, that's like a treat, you know. But then you binge everything, and then you're like, okay, what now? So I don't know. But
are there